Obviously, the reason we're here tonight is because of the chaotic scene that I have behind me just to the south. Pretty much at 7:45, we got multiple calls of a shooting that happened at an establishment just to my south, 57th Drive in Lamar. Like I said earlier, it's very chaotic. We have very little information that we can share at this time. We have multiple officers here on scene. We have detectives on their way. What I can confirm is that there are multiple people shot.
The air was thick with the aroma of traditional Mexican food. Music pulsed through the air, laughter echoed from happy families. It was Cinco de Mayo, and the Camaron Gigante restaurant in Glendale, Arizona was alive with celebration. But the festive mood was shattered in an instant. Gunfire, screams, chaos. Around 7:45 p.m., the joyous atmosphere transformed into a scene of terror. Multiple shooters opened fire, unleashing a barrage of bullets into the unsuspecting crowd. People scrambled for cover, desperate to escape the hail of lead. The festive music was replaced by the chilling sound of gunshots. The restaurant, once filled with laughter and joy, became a scene of carnage. The smell of gunpowder mingled with the scent of food. Blood stained the vibrant decorations. The spirit of celebration was crushed under the weight of tragedy. The gunmen, their motives still unknown, vanished into the night. They left behind a trail of devastation and despair, forever staining the memory of this joyous occasion. The restaurant, once a symbol of community and celebration, now stood as a stark reminder of the senseless violence that can erupt in our midst. Panic seized the restaurant. People ran for their lives, desperate to escape the gunfire. Parents shielded their children, their bodies forming human shields against the flying bullets. The air filled with screams of terror and the cries of the wounded. The festive atmosphere was replaced by sheer terror. Tables and chairs, once filled with laughing families, were overturned in the desperate scramble for safety. Mariachi instruments, meant to spread joy, lay abandoned on the floor, their music silenced by the chilling sound of gunfire. Witnesses described a scene of unimaginable chaos, the sound of shattering glass, the pungent smell of gunpowder, the sight of blood. It was a nightmare come to life. The restaurant, once a place of warmth and celebration, had transformed into a battleground. The gunmen, their faces hidden in the shadows, showed no mercy. They fired indiscriminately into the crowd, their bullets finding innocent victims. Families were torn apart in an instant, their lives forever changed by this senseless act of violence. One witness, who had stepped outside moments before the shooting, described the scene as pure chaos. He recounted hearing a rapid succession of gunshots, more than 20 in a matter of seconds. A brief pause, then another volley of gunfire. The sounds echoed through the night, a terrifying soundtrack to the unfolding tragedy. Another witness, a young woman who had been celebrating with friends, spoke of the terror that gripped her as the gunfire erupted. She described diving under a table, her heart pounding in her chest as the sounds of chaos and screams filled the air. She emerged from her hiding place to a scene of carnage, the restaurant littered with the wounded and the dying. A man who had been dining with his family spoke of his desperate attempt to shield his wife and children from the gunfire. He described the feeling of helplessness as he huddled over them, praying that the bullets would not find them. He spoke of the guilt that gnawed at him, the guilt of surviving when others had not. The witnesses' stories, each one a testament to the horror of that night, painted a grim picture of the events. Their words, filled with shock and disbelief, served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of violence that lurks in the shadows. As the sun rose over Glendale, the true extent of the tragedy became horrifyingly clear. 9 people lay dead, their lives cut short in a senseless act of violence. The injured, some clinging to life, were rushed to local hospitals, their families left to grapple with the uncertainty of their fate. The Glendale Police Department launched a full-scale investigation, determined to bring the perpetrators to justice. The restaurant, now a crime scene, was cordoned off with yellow tape, a grim reminder of the violence that had transpired within its walls. Detectives worked tirelessly, gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, and piecing together the events of that tragic night. The community, reeling from the shock of the shooting, struggled to come to terms with the tragedy. Vigils were held, prayers were offered, and flowers were laid at the site of the shooting, a poignant symbol of love and remembrance. The community, united in grief, sought solace in shared sorrow and support. The shooting at the Camaron Gigante restaurant served as a stark reminder of the pervasiveness of gun violence in our society. It was a tragedy that touched not only the victims and their families, but also the entire community of Glendale and beyond. It left behind a scar, a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of violence that can shatter our peace in an instant.